I would rather we had time at the end. No one was rushing. Let's get her done. Rushing. We tend to blur our words in this country because we're lazy. We turn into mush mouths. Although, to be perfectly honest, given how Putin is going with his let's bring back the Cold War era kind of stuff, I would not. I would feel very concerned if I found out half my class was Russian. I'm sure there's great people that are in Russia, but the people in power, they're extremely authoritarian. They don't promote human rights in the slightest, and they took over Crimea. So this is 5-7. If you have the opportunity, there's a fictionalized series on Amazon Prime called The Man in the High Castle, and it's an alternative history in which the U.S., the Allies lost World War II, and Germany and Japan take over and split the United States. Japan has everything west of the Rockies. Germany and the other Axis powers control everything east.
Germany and Japan did their thing at the same time because nobody ever told us in classes that that was at the same time. Oh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Not till high school. That I was
But
listening to.
Okay, there you go. There's the catch that you were listening to. All right.
I'm sure they said it in like sometime.
So anyway, let's do some math. You do not need to do a full expansion of it. Just do the fourth term, and please show your work as to how you arrived at that term, because that's what your points will be based on.
Okay. 3. Right. No.
Yeah, didn't expect you'd walk into Algebra 2 class and start talking about, East European political ideology. In my room, we call that a tangent. Okay. Show the setup. Okay, kind of like yesterday, we did kind of a box parenthesis thing. Fill them in, then, or butt cheek.
Hey Dawson, can you grab me? Sure.
No.
Thank you.
Remember, I want to know what you know, not what your neighbor knows. Okay. 5-7. Sorry, on the slide, the 5-7 is right here. So. Oh, is that today? The big chemistry thing that everyone's freaking out about?
No, I just want to do that one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Just heard a lot of people wigging out about chemistry in the last few days. Is anyone still going? One potato, two?
Mike.
What is this?
I'll draw it for you. Quick sketch. Actually, now.
Bet no one uses for phones anymore.
You think it's a bird or a wave?
No.
A wave. Pokemon?
That's why I'm confused.
Looks like a bird.
You're gonna find a basic. Oh no, I did all the troll basics on there. Never mind. But no, it looks like the red man symbol was. Curious. Like, are you actually cooler than I thought? Oh no, wait, no.
Oh.
So, all right. I'm gonna have a coefficient, a term to an exponent, b term to an exponent. The a and b terms I'm already given. That's 2x squared and 3y to the 7th. No, the 7 is outside. Bad Sullivan. If I want the fourth term of something to the 7th, I go to 7th row of the triangle, count 4 terms in. What's that? 7, 35, 70? No. 35? Okay. And because it's the fourth term, remember that I will start maybe on this one. I start at 0 and then on the first term. So then 1 on the second term, 2 on the third term, 3 on the fourth term. Or I could start at 7 and count down for this one, starting at 7, 6, 5, 4, and there I am. Either way, that 4 and that 3 should add up to 7 because if it's a 7th expansion of something, I will always have degree 7. So now it's a matter of, did you actually do the order of operations correctly? This is a 35 times a 16 x to the 8th times a 27 y to the 3rd. And I ain't even going to attempt that because I cannot think straight right now. What is 35 by 16 by 27? 15 mutter, mutter, mutter. There we go. X to the 8th, y to the 3rd.
Yep.
So, here's what we're going to say. Did you have correct coefficient? Did you have binomial setup? Did you have the correct exponents in the correct spot. So not just you had 4 and 3, but it was 4 then 3, not 3 then 4. Okay? Correct exponent, correct spot. Then, at the end, did you get your coefficient correct? Did you get your variables and exponents correct? Because I'll see kids get the variable part right, and then they goof the coefficient because they goof the order of operations. It happens. I had a whole board to prove it happens. Okay. Anything about this? Did okay? All right. How about the homework? I have not yet pulled it up on here, and I really don't want to. So I want you to feel comfortable asking, but I ain't gonna do it if I don't have to. Anything from the homework? Did I cut it down enough? I know it's still long, like the problems are long, like they just are. But what do we have, like 4? 6? 4? Okay, I really did try to cut it down. Okay. All right. There's a thing. Randomly, since we're kind of speeding through all that stuff, reminder when you're done, I've got piles from other classes over there. So make sure that I'm going to move like all the donuts into one box and clear that up a little bit. Put it'll be your chapter 5 packet of notes and then your notebook or binder or folder, whatever you have, in a pile next to the tests. Even better, I'm going to start trying to go through that stuff. I might have you put it over here instead. Okay? Pile next to tests. Notes do not go with tests. Review does not go with tests. Tests go with tests. Cool? What else? I don't know. I got nothing. Here we go. Let's get you a review. I actually remembered to make it say review on one and quiz on the other. Well, fun fact, Vanilla Ice himself hates that song. Yes, with a passion. Like, he got inducted into some Hall of Fame for that song, and in the ceremony he took the award and smashed it to pieces on the stage and just screamed, "I effing hate that song," and walked off. Vanilla Ice. Like, he hates the song he's famous for. It's great.
That doesn't even make sense.
Like, if you're really the one-hit wonder, and for 35 years or so, that is the only thing that anyone ever knows you for. Yeah, it's great. Everyone got one? Okay. Then, bomb. Pokemon style. Find them all. Okay. Find all complex zeros, state any multiplicities. Now that we know the fundamental theorem of algebra, and yes, the ordering on these is off, it was just what fit where as to how much space it would take. If I'm going to find all the zeros, then I need to, well, how do you want to find them? I can factor it. But most of you are going to say, screw that, I'm going to do synthetic, right? So, let's do it. 2, 1, -9, 18. What do you feel lucky about? You sure? Okay. Who knew what?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So I got -6, -5, 15, 6, -18. Oh, wow, you're good. See, I should have just trusted you. Is there anything else that we feel lucky about?
Feel pretty lucky about.
looking at me, I don't remember.
You got the first one.
There's another zero.
Oh, so that means we have to plug and chug.
I'm now at that quadratic. That was the whole point of everything we've been doing. We spent so much time on quadratics and learning what imaginary numbers were and doing multiple ways to solve a quadratic, because if I can get my polynomial to a quadratic, I know how to solve it. So however you solve it, get them. Now most of you are probably going to head for quadratic formula. Negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac square root of that all over 2a. And in there goes -5, 2's, and a 6. Getting 5 plus or minus 25 minus 48 is -23. So square root of 23, that's a 3. That's just a 3. I want a 23. Come on, hand, cooperate. Okay, so if I end up with that square root of -23, take out the I. Maybe, I was really trying to pound on this yesterday with my algebra and algebra half classes, that, we're doing the review that looks just like the quiz right before you take the quiz. Don't just, I'm going to write down the stuff that he's writing up there. Write notes to yourself. What could you now do to help you not screw this up? What could you tell yourself? What are things that you commonly goof on these types of problems? I'll tell you right now, this is one off.
Because you have to write them all out.
Forgot your kid brother at Burger King.
-3, man.
Okay? Tell yourself to write the full answer, including any of the ones from synthetic division. Tell yourself to simplify the radical. What if that was square root of 24? If I had a square root of -24 in there, then I would have to take a 2i out and have a 6 left in. Now in this case, 23 is prime. I wasn't able to bring anything out. Make sure you simplify the radical. Maybe make sure you separate your real and imaginary friends. Maybe be careful to keep the sign with this. I don't know. Maybe you write quadratic formula right next to this on your review. Like write out the actual quadratic formula so that you don't have to go hunting for it when it's time to take the quiz. Yes, it's also right there above Callister's head. Okay? But if in the middle of a quiz you're looking up and around,
It's kind of sus.
kind of sus.
I guess.
Okay? So just, it's not enough to just, this is how I do the problem, but tell yourself what to watch out for. Okay? Most of us in here are doing pretty good. And I hear some of you get really antsy when I hand those quizzes back about, you serious? And it's like 29 out of 30 and you're mad about it. It's a 28 out of 30 and it was literally you missed a negative here and you forgot to square that. Like, this is how you don't get the little things wrong, is you write notes and tell yourself, this is the kind of thing that I usually miss and then have to fix on daily quizzes or when we're doing problems in class. Tell yourself how to do the problem. Okay? You still have to do it. I just want you to be as supported as possible while you're doing it. Okay? Oh, on this one, come on, Frank. State any multiplicities. This one was only a cubic. What if it was a quintic? And what if 2 showed up multiple times?
Plus or minus.
Okay. No, 2 itself, not plus or minus. Just, it was like 2, 2, 2, and then a imaginary set.
Two subscript.
Okay. Now, whether you say multiplicity of or whether you use a subscript, I'll take both. But just make sure it does say state multiplicities. So if there are multiplicities, make sure that you're stating that. Because I'm pulling these problems from assessment banks that are 13 years old. I'm just grabbing problems and throwing them in there because I know I've used them before and they do this thing. Maybe it uses -3 twice and then has the imaginaries. Okay? I don't want you to get the little thing wrong because we just didn't check the directions. Okay? 2. Big kahuna. Here we go. Write a polynomial of least degree with integer coefficients that has these zeros. Boy, it'd be handy if we had those cheaters written on here, right? So we don't have to write it out longhand. Now, is there anyone in here who actually preferred doing it the longhand way, like x minus the 0? I've had it before where I've got kids who just, the cheater, they say no, they just don't want to. And they would much rather do it the other way. Okay, that's your preference, do it. If not, do you have those cheaters written down? Okay, contestant 1 has an I in it. So I'm going to use x squared minus 2ax plus a squared plus b squared. This does not have an I in it. So I will use x squared minus 2ax plus a squared minus b squared. The most common error that kids make on this is just that plus or minus. That, no joke. Also, maybe goofing when they square. Like a common problem that I was seeing as we were practicing these was x squared minus 2ax plus a squared plus b squared times x squared minus 2ax plus a squared minus b squared. A very, very common error that I was seeing was identifying a equals 1, b equals 1, I. And I had kids writing the I there. Remember, it's a plus b, I. The b is the coefficient of I. So what is b right now? 1. Okay? Don't go throwing an I in there with it. So just put in 1s. A is 1, b is 1. B is the coefficient in front of I. Because there's an I there, that's taken care of in the formula. Okay? So I have x squared minus 2x, 1 plus 1. I have identify a is 4, b is square root of 5. So 4 square root of 5. I'm always lazy about that because it gets squared and it doesn't matter. Technically it is there. Yeah?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Nice. On quiz day, brownie point. Nice.
Quiz day brownie point, that's pretty good. That means we're in top form and ready for our quiz. Okay. No, you got it.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. X squared minus 8x. Be careful, it is 16 minus 5. Okay. Another thing to watch out for that, what if I took something like that and squared it?
You gotta square the negative 2.
Square inside and outside. So negative 2 squared is 4, square root of 5 squared is 5. Okay? Again, I just copy pasted stuff from old test banks. I don't even know what it is. I didn't have time to speed run it last night. So we'll see what's there. That's why I want to cover everything. Okay, so now we're going to disturb it. X squared times all the stuff. X to the 4th minus 8x to the 3rd plus 11x squared. Negative 2x times the stuff. Negative 2x to the 3rd plus 16x squared minus 22x. 2 times the stuff. 2x squared minus 16x plus 22. Remember that this is just one way to organize it. Some of you really liked that Punnett square method instead. X squared minus 2x plus 2, x squared minus 8x plus 11. Some of you really liked that method because it just helped you to organize things. Use what works for you. Okay? So once I'm there, make sure you write out your entire thing. X to the 4th minus 10x cubed. What's that? 18, 29? 29, right? Okay. Minus 38x plus 22. Okay, did I leave enough room there for you to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know that's a problem with our notes. I do not have enough room in there, and I haven't gone back to change the notes or fix them. So I want to make sure you have enough room on here. If you're one of those kids that just writes gigantic, or if you're like a certain someone from my pre-calc class who just erases and scratches out and erases in, and then it's just a mess, so they just go and get a separate sheet of paper to do it on there, that's fine. Okay, you can always just go grab a blank piece of scratch paper and use that. That's fine. Okay. They know who they are. Okay. So those were the big ones. The smaller pieces were division. Does it say how to divide? So you get your preference. You divide it however you want to. Okay? If you prefer long division, you go right ahead. Most of us are probably going to do synthetic. Oh boy, how many of you already got? Who already got?
No, I started to do that.
Yeah.
Boy, that should be a note that I write to myself. Zeros as placeholders.
Dawson, you done messed up.
The number one error on these problems. 0 as a placeholder. Now, do I use 3 or negative 3? Because we had, it's always the 0 of. So I say x minus 3 is 0, x equals 3, I will use 3. Okay. 3 by 5 is 15, Adam. 3 by 15 is 45, Adam. 3 by 51 is 153, add them. 3 by 147 is 420, 441. And then, maybe another note to write to yourself, don't just get here and quit. You have to write what this means. What is my quotient function? If I took a quartic and divided it by a linear, I'm now at 5x cubed plus 15x squared plus 51x plus 147 plus
X minus 3.
Okay. Additionally, it's not on this one, but what if that was a 2x minus 3? Then your 0 here would have been 3 halves. And then when you get to this line, you would have to divide it also by 2. Okay? Again, I don't remember what's on your quiz.
How do you write that as a
How do I write what?
Just write what he was. It's a fraction. Just
It's always the 0 of. If I have 2x minus 3, then I have to divide by this. Since I divided by 2, I have to divide my answer by 2. Okay? If I divide my 0 by 2, I have to divide my answer by 2. Unless, seriously, it's like a Clydesdale.
It's the same time every day.
Or like the opening to Monty Python. Okay? Okay? Well, with the Holy Grail one, not the other one, because that one's trash. Like, just because I said it a certain way also doesn't mean that that's the way that's going to work for you. You can change your wording on that. If you got a better way to say it than I did, tell me. Describe the roots. Possible real. That's your Descartes theorem. Descartes' law of signs. So first I'm going to say the possible positive real roots is when I plug in a positive x, I see a positive, positive, negative, positive. Count the sign changes. I see one right here, one right here. So I say there's 2 or 0 goes down in pairs.
So 2x.
Well, yeah, if you plug in a positive x, nothing up there changes.
What the negative? What's the negative times the negative?
What?
What do you mean?
What was that?
If I put a positive x in right here, positive times positive, positive, minus a positive is still negative. It's only when I plug in the negative x that things might change. Yes.
Do we have to write like the f of x on these?
No.
And what about on the other problem? The one down here, do we have to write f of x?
That one you do because you're writing the polynomial. No, honestly, I should have said like f of x equals this, but nah. That was more of a small like formatting error, but nah. Negatives. Possible negative real roots. Now I put in a negative x. Do you remember how this goes? Will it stay or change signs? It's even, so it keeps its sign. Will it stay or change its sign? Odd, so it switches. Will it keep its sign or change? It will keep its sign. Will it keep its sign or change? It's a constant. It's always going to be positive 6, no matter what.
So, okay, so do we judge like the even? Do we judge off the coefficient or the? Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay. You go by the coefficient because that's how many negatives you'll have. Okay. So I see 1, 2 sign changes. So there's again 2 or 0 possible negative real roots. Possible real. Check. What about possible rational roots? All the factors of my constant over all the factors of my leading coefficient. So my possible rational roots are going to be plus or minus all the factors of my constant, 1, 2, 3, and 6, over plus or minus all the factors of my leading coefficient. I don't get to just leave it like that. I have to actually write them out. So I'm going to have all this junk over 1. So plus or minus 1, 2, 3, and 6. Then I'm going to have all that junk over 2. Don't repeat things. 1 over 2. I don't need to do 2 over 2 because that's 1. I already have it. 3 over 2. 6 over 2. That I already have it. So that's it.
I see.
Cool? Okay. And then notice it just says to describe them. Doesn't say to solve. Don't overkill. You don't need to solve it. You just describe what the possible zeros are. Then move on with your life. And then yesterday's stuff. Now you will actually expand it. Not just find the term, expand it. If you are intentionally saying butt cheek on repeat while doing your quiz to disrupt your neighbors,
If you say it like you want on accident because it's just habit. I said I was sitting at home. What? Like I'm doing homework.
so I'm going to go to what row? Fourth row. Remember, the top of the pyramid doesn't count. That's like row 0. So the fourth row is 1, badonk, badonk. 4, badonk, badonk. Plus 6, badonk, badonk. Plus 4, badonk, badonk. Plus 1, badonk, badonk. Fill stuff in. I've got y to the fourth, y to the third, y to the second, y to the first, y to the 0 because my first term descends in degree, which means my other term will ascend in degree. Negative 2z to the 0, negative 2z to the first, negative 2z to the second, negative 2z to the third, negative 2z to the fourth. Again, don't get the dumb little thing wrong because you just didn't want to write out the next step. How many times have I been coming around and a kid says, well, I'm really confused on this, how I get from here to here? I'm like, well, you write it. Did you write it, or are you trying to be lazy because you think you get it? Okay? You are more accurate when you write it out. I am more accurate when I write it out. So come along and say 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 1 times y to the fourth, y to the third, y to the second, y to the first, 1. Check your exponents. 1, negative 2z, positive 4z squared, negative 8z cubed, positive 16z to the fourth, and it's multiplied. Now clean it up. Y to the fourth minus 8y cubed z plus 24 y squared z squared minus 32 yz to the third plus 16z to the fourth. This isn't going to be a really big one just because of time. If I remember right, I don't think I went past to the fifth on any of my problems in my test bank just because it's overkill. I don't think I went past it. Also, if I remember right, I think our holy sheet for this chapter, the Pascal's triangle that's on it only goes through the 6th or 7th row anyway. So I know I didn't go past that. It used to be it wasn't open notes, open everything, because some kids were incredibly academically dishonest. So it was the holy sheet. It was my sheet of notes. You get that with your test, which is still pretty good. Like, my notes are, dare I say, quite solid. So,
Yeah.
all right, how are we feeling? And I mean, we're looking at, well, like 45, 50 minutes. You got more than enough time, okay? So, this is the 8th time we've done this. Get those phones over here. You guys them? Okay. Hold up.
Okay, so I have a question number 2. I don't understand how you get 11.
4 squared is 16.
Mm-hmm.
Negative square root of 5 squared is positive 5.
So do you
16 minus 5.
take the square root of 5?
No, you're squaring the square root of 5.
Oh, so it just gets rid
Because
of the
that was my
square
B
root?
term. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Those are good questions to ask. I want you asking that. Phones over here, and make sure that includes your smartwatch, your spy cameras, your earbud connecting you to Salcon. Salcon is the founder of Khan Academy. Khan Academy started as an online math tutorial video service. Yeah. Someone's moving. This row ain't. Nuh-uh, not like that. Nope. Yeah.